just starting the recording. Anyway, the recording has started. Okay, now let me just come back once again. Where I was here. I was here. So this is the image, and since we are looking at uh, the hyperlinks for section of an image is a different link for different section of the image. So we will be considering this image. So we need to now provide the coordinates of this image. Coordinates of this image. So what happens is for this rectangle section, shape we are using as a rectangle, the upper right left coordinates will be 0. For any image, for let's take the whole image itself, upper left coordinates will be 0 and lower left coordinates, lower right coordinates will be the height and the width. That is the the width and the height of the image. So if you look at the this image over here, when I get my mouse pointer to the upper left corner, you may find that it says 1 comma 0 right now. Actually it starts from 0 comma 0. So we will provide, we already have the area tag here within the map tag, and shape we are using as rectangle, though they are different shape, we will discuss later. Then we will have coordinates, and this coordinates we will provide as 0 comma 0, that is the upper left coordinates. And then the second coordinates we need to provide is the lower right coordinates for that rectangle. So for this brown or the maroon rectangle, the lower right coordinates is this part. So when I get the image, when I get the mouse over here, in the status bar, if you look, it says something as 303, 202. Actually, I have this complete image is of the size. If I come over here at the lower left, or you can see in the status bar, if you can see in what is this? Status bar of this paint, you can find that the image is 600 by 400 pixels. So this the lower right is nothing but 600 by 400 pixels. So this at the center where the lower right coordinates of this section will be 300 by 200. So I have already provided the upper left coordinates, comma, I'll provide the lower right coordinates, that is 200 and 300, 200 comma 300. Then here, instead of anchor tag, here we will use href. Here we will use the href attribute, and then provide the what do we say, the link. Let us say this say page 1. So we will say page 1.html, and here also let us have the alt tag, alt, for alternate tag, and let me just say that it's page 1, page -1. So this is the first shape we have created. Now let me copy and paste this. Let me create another shape or another section. Now let me create the section, this blue section. So for blue section, the top or the upper left coordinates is, you can see in the status bar, it says 305 comma 0. So it's actually 300 comma 0. So we will have the first coordinates as 300 comma 0. Then the other two coordinates as the lower right. That is for this blue box. It is status bar, it shows 598 comma 198. It's actually 600 comma 200, because we are evenly trying to divide the rectangle. So let's say 600 comma 200. And href of this page will be the link to this page will be, let's say, page 2. And even the alternate text, let us make it as page 2. In same way, we have the fourth, rectangle, as well as the fifth one. So sorry, the third rectangle and the fifth rectangle. So for the third rectangle, let me just remove this thing because then we will have confusion. And it's the coordinates. Let us say the gray one is the fourth one. So this gray one, upper left is 0 comma 200. So we will have over here 0 comma 200, and lower left, the lower right is 300 comma 400. So let's have here comma 300 comma 400, and this will be page 3 link, as well as let's say alternate link as page 3. Then for the fourth shape, that is this green one, the upper left will be 300 by 200. So here we will have 300 comma 200, and the lower right will be 600 and 400. So 600 comma 400, and this will be, let's say, page 4. Now this alternate text also let's make as page 4. So all our 4 sections, that is 4 rectangles, are done. Now before we move further, or before we look at this, check whether it's working or not, the shape here we are using rectangle. You can also have a circles, like for example, I'll just draw a circle. You can also have circles, and this area within the circle can be assigned a link. So here the shape, instead of RECT, rect, you will use the shape as circle, complete circle. For rectangle, you are providing the coordinates as this rectangle. This is rectangle. For rectangle, you are providing the coordinates as upper left and the lower right coordinates of the box. The upper left and lower right. It's a diagonal. When you have circle, when you have shape as circle, the coordinates you will provide as the x and y, that is the center. So x, let me just write it. Sorry, not here. Let me just see this. Anyway, this we are just trying to demonstrate it. So x comma y, that is the center of the circle, comma the radius r. This is the this is the coordinates you will provide if it is circle. If the shape is a circle. Let me change this as right. So the shape is a circle. So for if you are using circle, you will provide x and y and the radius. X, y is the center coordinates of the circle. So you can find which is the center and then provide that part. Then again, the shapes or the images may not be so simple, like these boxes are circles where we can provide the coordinates of one point and the diagonal, the other point, as well as the circle where we can provide the center coordinate and the radius. Shapes are generally in terms of maps, and maps are usually not the states, if you consider, not usually considered as rectangles or circles. They will be polygons. So here, when it's a polygon, for example, let's say this, let's say over here, if this is the some kind of a shape as a state over here. So obviously this is not a circle or a rectangle. I'll just fill this with some color. How do I do? Okay, this way. So obviously this will not be like a rectangle, so it will be a polygon. So we also have a shape as a polygon, like rect for rectangle. So we can use poly for polygon. And the coordinates, what we can provide is like how we were providing the x1, y1 for the upper corner, and x2 and y2 for the lower corner, that is the diagonal corners, the upper left and the lower right. This is 2 x2. So we were providing x1, y1 and x2, y2. But when we use, this is for rectangle. Now, when we are using polygons, we have to provide we can provide a series of these coordinates, x1, x2, then the second point. Then if it starts from here, then the second point, then the third point, fourth point, so and so you can go and create a complete section of the map. So it will be x3, y3, comma, then it continues till xn, comma, yn. So for polygons, we define each coordinates on the boundary. Like how the boundary goes, the same way we start, giving the coordinate. So this way we will be able to create a complete polygon, a section or a shape as a polygon, then assign whatever href you want, whatever link you want, you can assign that. So I'll just remove this. So this, there are three types of shapes here. We have rectangles, we have circles, as well as we have polygons. So this is how different coordinates, this is the way coordinates can be provided for different shapes there. Now, one more thing, the last thing before we execute this complete tag, before we look at this demonstration, the last thing is that we have created a map. Sorry, we had the image, which is displayed here, the complete image. Then we have created the map. Map had areas which defines the shape of the sections. And each section is obviously having a different href or the hyperlink. Now, how does this image, we are not taking anchor tag. Area, using the area tag and providing the hyperlink, it's doing the part of the anchor tag. But how does this image know that it has been divided into sections and each section should work as a different hyperlink? How will it know? So here in map tag, we have defined the name as SEC for section. Let us give this name as, what do we say, campus. Let's say that a campus area, or you're mapping the whole campus area. So let us say this as campus. Map, name is the attribute campus. Now in the image tag, we have src source attribute. Then we will have an attribute as use map is the attribute. Remember, here you have map as the tag itself, whose name is campus. So these entire thing can be referred to as campus now. That is the shapes we have, which we have defined. And the image tag has an attribute. Obviously, it's the source attribute is there, which shows that this is the complete image. But since we are dividing this map section.png, this complete image, so we need to use use map attribute. And to this, we need to provide the name of the map, tag. The name of this map tag is campus. So we'll just say campus. But here, if you remember last class, we have seen, previous classes, we have seen how to have a hyperlink within the same page, section of a same page. So we were using something known as hash. The label we were providing something known as hash. So here also we will provide hash because the hyperlink should be for this image. So we will have the image, then the source, that is the image file name for the image, the actual image itself. Then we will use map hash campus. This is the use map hash campus. Hash campus is nothing but it's the name of the map tag. And within map tag, we have different areas or different area tags, which gives us, or through which we define the shapes. So this is how we create an image and divide that image into different sections. And then for each section, we provide the hyperlink. let us look at how it works. I'll just save this file and we'll just reload it. Now over here, if I come in the web, the status bar, you can find that it points to page 1.html. In the status bar, you can see it says file colon slash slash and so and so. State this status bar at the end. I mean, and then the second one says page 2, third one it says page 3, fourth one it says page 4. So if I click this blue, it's taking me to page 2. If I click this gray over here, gray, it takes me to page 3. If I click this brown, maroon, whatever color it is, it takes me to page 1. If I click this page 4, this green box, it takes me to page 4. This green box taking me page to 4. So now it's taking me to page 4. Now, so here the image is divided into 4 sections, and user has the choice, or user click on any section anywhere in the image, and that will take him to the particular a different URL. So this is how we will be able to create images with link sections. So earlier class we have seen how to make the image itself as a link. So the complete image will be a link, and when we click anywhere in that image, it will take us to the same link. But here we have seen how to create images. How to use images with link sections. So this is how we will be able to map any image and have their coordinates in the shape area, define it as whatever shape it has, and provide the coordinates as well as provide the different sections or different hyperlinks for those sections. So this is how we apply, or this is how we'll use hyperlinks. Images for link sections. So any doubts so far for this topic? What are these chat messages? Okay, all are roll numbers. Any doubt? Oh, there are so many people have joined. Earlier it used to be 15 in the class. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyone, just respond. Are you people even listening? Any doubts? You can type it in chat, or you can as well, what do we say, unmute. So it's clear whatever I'm saying. Okay, then let us continue. Now, last section we have seen list tags. Then we have also seen nested list tags. Now, what do is we will look at table tags. We will look at the table tags. Now, this table tags, it's a very, this tag actually, it's nowadays not used, but to have the sense on, or the feel of how the web pages used to be created, or how still they are created, but table tag is not used nowadays. That is for different reasons and for different purposes. It's not being used. Anyway, let us know what is the table tag. Now, table tag breaks the web page into different sections known as rows and columns. And section between a row and a column is a cell, what we call it as a cell. So in general, I mean, in the normal English, I mean, how tables are defined the same way over here. So we will use the table tag to define tables. Now it's not just like we were simply using UL tag and then li tag for having the items of the list. The table tag contains different or several. I'll just remove these. Uh, Table tag contains several. I mean, it works in conjunction with several other tags. So let us create a table tag here, and I'll just close the table tag. So within this opening and closing table tag, we will be able to create rows and columns. So within table tag, we create the rows using TR tag. Table row. T is for table, R is for row. Table row. Then, so I'll just write this over here. Now, table row, there can be several rows in the table. Let's say let's not make it complicated. Let's say we have only 3 rows. We have 3 rows. Now, within these rows, we need to assign columns, or we need to create columns. Columns are not like table row means TR. Columns doesn't mean TC, table column. Now, what we say is columns will be having the data. That is, the cells will be having the data, or it holds the actual content. So this table will be the content within the cell or the column is the content within the cell or the column is specified using TD tag. TD stands for table data. So there may be multiple columns. So this is first TD. I mean, we open and close TD. Second TD, open and close TD. In the same way, let us have 3 columns here, even 3 columns here. Now what I'll do is let me just use tabs or spaces at least to format this. So this is let's use this. So this is the first row. This is the second row, and this is the what do we call third row. In first row, let me again split this row. In first row, these are the cells. So I'll again split the cells or columns. So let's say, let me take, let's say this. As well as even this thing, let me split it. So this will be much easier so that we don't have any confusion between how we are using the tags. So this way, we created what we say is a table with 3 rows. That is, this is first row, this is second row, and this is third row. And each row has 3 columns. Let us have the data as, let's say, 101. Second one as ABC. Third one as 78.25. I'm just using some arbitrary data to explain you. Then let us say 102. This as AAA, and this as, let's say, 2.48. And then here, let's say 103, let's say BBB, and this as something called as 81.35. Now let me save this and execute this. I'll just refresh this page. You can find that there's some data displayed here. there is some data displayed. Now we don't know what this, how is it formatted, or there is no. We are just having some data on one line, some data on another line, some data on third line. So let us make this much more. We will use border as the attribute for the table tag. Remember, and table tag. The entire this entire thing is the content of the table tag. We are using nested tr tag, the rows as well as td tags. So border. By default, the border is 0. So let us make the border as 1. That is an attribute, table tag. So now you can see that there is a what do you call, some shape which is of the table. Now don't worry about what is the space between this. It's actually what happened is I increased it to 300. If I make it as 100, you may hardly find a difference. You will just find that there are rows created, and you will have some display of the data. So this is clearly, you can find that 101 is this cell, the first cell, and then ABC is the second cell. In the first row we are talking about, and then we have the third row, which has 78.25. I mean, the first cell itself, third column or first row itself, the third cell or third column has 78.25. The same way, this is the data for the second row, and this is the data for the third row. So this way, we will be able to create tables. Now, here, we cannot have headers. I mean, header means we can say what this column is. Let's say 101, 102, and 103 are the roll numbers, and ABC, AAA, BBB are the names, and the 78 point, the third column is the marks. So what I will do is I'll create another row. I will create another row, and this row I will obviously I'll just copy and paste this for creating the row. So what I will do is, let me just copy this and paste. And I'll change this. I'm providing a heading. So let me say roll number. And here we will have name. Actually, I have copied this and pasted, so I'm just making changes there. And let's say marks. Let us save this. And we will just view it. So the first row becomes the header. And the rest of the other data, so we are having a header for each column. Now, usually what happens, these headers are in bold just to distinguish or differentiate between the normal rows and the headers. So we can use which tag? B tag, bold tag. Let's use bold tag. Let me close this bold tag over here. I have just opened it. Let me close this over here. Just close it. Close it. Let me refresh this. Now you can find that this the roll number, name, and marks. This row has become bold. Now we used B tag to make it bold. Let me just remove this. The table tag, like your row and tr, within table tag, like row tr and like td, we also have a tag known as th, which stands for table header. So instead of using td tag and in any cell providing bold tag or strong tag, instead of that, we can directly use table header. Now, this has other advantage also. We'll look at that later. So within tr tag, instead of using td, we will use th, table header. Th, table header. Instead of table data, we will use table header. We will open this tag and close. Let us save this. So this helps us in one thing, that is we need not use bold tag. we can use just the with the TD tag, we can just use TS table header tag to achieve the same thing. I'll just refresh it. You can find that the output is the same. So this is one thing. We can use TH table header tag, which has advantage over the using table TD tag, and then I mean using bold tag to make the text as bold. The other what do we say facility or uh, the the other advantage of using this TS tag is when we have multiple when we print the what do you call this web page. What happens is if there is a lot of data, there's many rows, some 100 rows. Now you will be able to use a scroller. Just a second. You will be able to just I mean, sorry for the is this who is telling me I'm unable to join. Anyway, sorry for the disturbance there. Let us continue. Let us continue. Where okay, here. Now, the other advantage of using header tag is that we may not, uh, we may have several hundreds of rows of information. Now, on a web browser, you will have a vertical scroll, so you can scroll through all the what do you call rows, and you can know that which column it belongs because it's symmetric there. But when we print that same information on a printer, what may happen is the first row may be printed, that is the header row on the first page, then the rest of the pages may not have the header rows. So we may not know which column belongs to what. So in this scenario also, we can use this the headers in conjunction with there is T body tag, table body tag. With this, we can in conjunction with this, we will be able to use this table header tags so that when it is printed and when we use table headers, T body, table header, so and so, then what happens is when we print that, when it is printed, every page will be having the header along with the data, obviously the data of that page. So this is another advantage of using table headers. Another advantage of using table headers. Now we will do one. We'll do look at one more thing. This tables, this table is occupying only certain area. It's not in the center, not to the right. It's just starting from the left side and occupying certain area. Now we can make this table to occupy the complete web page. Now, thing is, This whatever is the area it's occupying right now is by default selected using the text. How long is the text? So if you consider here ABC, 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 this is all 3 characters. Name is 4 characters. So this the size of this is will be the size of the name. The side of the column will be name. Same as mark, same as for roll number. So you can find that here the alignment is left, and then the roll number takes the larger space. We will be able to use the width attribute, width, WIDTH, width attribute, the table type. This width attribute can also be used in TD tags as well as TR tags. So you can have different widths for different columns also assigned. When we use width for table tag, it will be for the entire table. When we use that width for the row tag, if I have this width over here, width for row tag, it will be for that row, particular row. If I have it for column tag, it will be for that particular column. So we will look at these things. Now the width tag, let us assume we are using for the table tag. So when we use width tag attribute with the table tag, this width will be for the table itself. So suppose the value can be provided in 2 ways. One is pixels, 100 pixels. This is px is for pixels, or it can be in percentage, like we have seen in the image tags. So we can have it 2 ways. Width can be provided, or width as well as height also can be provided in 2 ways. One is in terms of pixels, that is the absolute size, fixed size. The other in terms of percentages. So if I use width as 100%, what happens is the entire table, it's applied for entire table. Remember, it's applied for entire table. Now, within this table, I'll be able to apply again width, for each column. So let me use width for this row number. Let's say width equal to first over here for roll number. We will also use width for name. We will also use width for marks. Now, this width, let us say that the roll number has width, let's say 30%. The name has a width, let me say, let's say 50%. Let's say roll number has width 20%. This name has width 50% and marks has width 30%. Now, what are we saying here? What are we doing? We are saying the table is 100% width. Inside this table, we have 3 columns. That is, roll number is one column, name is another column, marks is the third one. So what we are saying here is the roll number column should be 20% of this 100%. And then name should be 50% and marks should be 30%. So if you add up, this will come up to 100%. Suppose if we make a mistake, we make this as 35%. It doesn't add up to 100. But anyway, it doesn't, this is HTML, it doesn't give us any error. Let us look at what happens here. Now, I'm refreshing. You can find that there is an alignment. Earlier, what happened is when we did not have this width attribute for columns, the entire all the columns were of equal size. Now we are using width attribute and specifying that roll number should be of certain width, name should be of certain width, mark should be of certain width. So this is how we will be able to use the width attribute even with the columns there. So this is one thing. Then what we have is uh, even the height we can provide. So there is no, height of the table. What happens is generally we do not provide height because the web page, it's a scrollable web page. You have what do we say? We have the vertical scrolling. So using vertical scrolling, by so with the vertical scrolling, we usually don't provide the height attribute, but you can provide. Doesn't matter. It works, but usually we don't do it. Now, the next thing we will look at is the spaces between the cells. For example, uh, the padding actually. What do we say? Cell padding. Now, the content you can find here, content that is 101, 102, and then the marks and then the name. There is some kind of a what do we say padding from where the between text and the cell. So here there is an attribute in the in the table tag which is known as cell padding. Now this cell padding attribute takes the value in pixels. Let me give 20 pixels. I can just provide 20 px. There is no need for px. Let me save this and let us look at the output. Now this is the output before we have provided cell padding. Let me now refresh this page. So can you find what happened now? I'll just remove cell padding. I'm removing cell padding. I'm saving this. So this was our previous thing. Now when I provided cell padding say 20. What cell padding does is cell padding specifies the content or the padding between the content and the cell. For example, if we provide cell padding as 20, that means 20 pixels of space will be between the content and the edge of the cell. So if you consider A, B, C, now there is some spacing here in between the edge, that is this edge, that the box you are seeing. But when we are providing 20 pixels, what happens is 20 pixels will be from all along the edge of the box. So it will be from left as well as from right, minimum, that is minimum, right? As well as from top and as well as from bottom. Same thing applies over here for 101. Same thing applies over here. So when we have cell padding as 20 pixels, let me save this and refresh it. Now you can observe that there is a space between this edge. You can find my mouse if you can look at my mouse. There is a space between this edge and the text, that is start of the character, which is A. This space is 20 pixels. Then from top, this space is 20 pixels. From bottom, this space is 20 pixels. Obviously, we're not bothered about right because this whole text is left aligned. Same way is with this 78.25. So cell padding, actually using cell padding attribute, we will be able to actually assign the space between the edge of the cell and the characters from left to top, bottom, as well as from right. Now this cell I have given 20. I'll just have cell padding as 5, or not 55. I'll just have it as 5. Let me. So you can find that there is a space, as well as if I remove the cell padding, uh, let's look at this. Now this is very close. The text is very close to the borders or the edges of the cell. So if let us provide the cell padding as 5. Now, when we provide cell padding as 5, you can observe that this is more clear, this is more readable. So that is the reason we can use cell padding so that we will be able to have some space between the edge of the cell and the actual text. That is the space whatever we provide as the value. So this is one thing about cell padding. Now this cell padding I'm using on the table. So it's been applied to the entire table. Every cell of the table, it's applied. Let us look at what happens if I use cell padding. I'm just copying this. What happens if I use cell padding only for the, let's say this is the first row, which is header, only for the second row. The second row. Let me just save this and refresh it. Nothing happens. It's not applied. So remember that cell padding is applied only to the complete table. Like earlier we had seen the width applied to even rows, the width applied to even individual columns we can apply. But cell padding is applied only to the table. So the entire table can be used for cell padding. Just let me move this part from here and let us have cell padding over here. So cell padding is applied to the entire table. So we can only use that cell padding with the table itself. Now, suppose if you want to have cell padding for this row, individual row, that is the second row. Just now we had it, we use that, but it doesn't work because it's not applied to individual rows, it's applied to the complete table. So if I want to have a different padding in this row, for example, I may have some images in the cells, and I want to show that images in a different way. So what can be done? How can we do it? Any idea? What we can do is we can use nested tables. Do you remember we had used nested list? The same way we can use nested tables. Table inside a table. So this whole row, if I want to apply some cell padding, a different cell padding to this whole row, what I can do is I can create a table inside the cell, another table inside the cell, another table inside the cell. Those are known as nested tables because this is already a table. Inside that, we create a table. And to that table, that table may have only one row and one column representing only one cell. That is this 1 or 2 or one AAA. And then to that table, we can assign cell padding. So this is how we can manipulate the tags. We can use the tags as and how we feel like, and then make our own changes. Now the next thing let us look at is something known as cell spacing. Something known as cell spacing. Now I'll do one thing. I'll just remove the cell padding because if you look at cell spacing, then there will be a confusion between cell padding and cell spacing. Now, I've just removed that. Let me. So this is our original table we have. Now, as we have cell padding, the same way we have something known as cell spacing. This also takes. So let us give 10 pixels as the cell spacing. Now remember, cell padding was the spaces or the amount of space between the edge and the content, the text. Cell spacing means the amount of space between cells. So here you can find there is, oh, sorry, I have not, just save it. I just save it and refresh it. So cell spacing is the amount of space between cells. So here, just a second. So here you can find that there is a uh, okay. I mean, sorry for disturbance. That I mean, sorry for that. Let us continue. Where were we? Uh, where is this? This is okay. We have seen cell padding, cell spacing. Cell spacing is the space between cells. Cell padding is the space between the edge of the cell and content, its content. Cell padding means the space between cells itself. So here, if you can look at my mouse, this whole cell is name cell, the whole name cell. This whole cell with the edge, with the border, with the rectangle covering the name. ABC is another cell with its rectangle covering. The cell spacing is this space between these two rectangles. All the rectangles, black borders, you are able to find it. So this is the outer edge, the complete outer border is the table's border. Then these are individual, I mean, each cell has got its individual border around or individual rectangle around it. So cell spacing is the space between each cell. So the space between name cell and the ABC cell, as well as between ABC cell and 101 cell, as well as between ABC cell and AAA cell and ABC cell and the 78.25, the marks, this cell. So this is the space that is 10 pixels. Now suppose if I provide a space as, let's say 20 pixels, we can have a wider, you can find that the space increases. So remember, do not get confused about cell spacing, and let me use cell spacing as 10. Do not get confused between cell spacing and cell padding. This is what is cell spacing, spaces between different cells. And then cell padding, this I'm showing it once more. Cell padding is between the edge of the cell to the content text. That is cell padding. So padding is always between content. Spacing is between cells. Just remember that. So this was other two attributes of the table tag. And even the cell spacing also, we cannot use it on individual rows. We have to use it on the table itself. Then one more important thing. Now, here, sorry, I'll just remove this padding and all. Let me refresh it. Now, this is a normal table. Now, here what we have is, this is the first row, this is the second row, third row, and fourth row. Now, I want to give, obviously there is a headers for each column, but what I want is, I want this entire column, I want to just have a single row, the entire column, a single row. Just a second. Shukriya, man. Anyway, so what I want is, I want the uh, the first complete row to be a header, single header. So that let's say that this is the table. Let's say I want to say students marks. Oh, no, not marks. Let's say students data. So what I will do is, I will do one thing. I will create another row. I want this entire thing. I'll create another row, and this row, I'll just say, let me remove the width, all these things. I'll just say uh, students data. Let's say students data. So after students data, I have three columns: roll number, name, and marks. Then the data, actual data of the student. So remember here what I'm doing. I'm not using three columns here or three cells for that row. I'm just using one cell for the row. Just let me save this, and then I'll use it. So what happens is, since I used only one cell, then this cell is the first cell, first column. Then the rest are, I mean, there's no cells at all for the second and the third column, because I did not use the H or D tags. So now this doesn't look good. What I want is the student data to be displayed in the middle. This whole thing should be only one column. Then from the second row, we should have three columns. So this is known as, when I am extending this column to cover up two more columns, to take the space of two more columns. This is known as column span. I am spanning that column. First column, I am spanning that first column. So there is an attribute known as column span. This attribute is used on the header or TD tag itself. I will have COL for column, SPN for span, column span. Now this column span will extend the first column to how many columns? SPN, column span. Column span should extend. This is an attribute, should extend to how many columns? This column. It should extend to all three columns. So that is roll number, name, and mark. So I'll provide the number of columns here, that is 3. So I'm saying that student data should extend, span for 3 columns. Those 3 columns are nothing but roll number, name, and this. I mean, it can be any columns there, but we are saying 3 columns. So let us save this. and then refresh it. Now you can find that this is only one column. Student data, this row has only one column, and this column is spanning three columns. Or this, the row has only one column and it covers all three columns. That is roll number, name, and marks. So this is how we can use column span. Then, as we have column span, we also have row span. What is row span? Just I'll remove this part. What is row span? I'll just save this. What is row span? Like it is covering columns, it should cover rows. Now, how will we create row span? Same way as we used an attribute as column span, we will use an attribute as row span. So what I will do is I'll just make this the whole idea about spanning the columns. I mean the rows as what I will do is I will use the first column in this one. First column, what we will do is we will have, this is a little tricky, it's not that easy as your column span. We need to have some understanding between this. What I will do is, here we have three columns. I will add another ph. And this column ph, let me close this ph column. Let's say information. Let me say information. I'll just save this. Now remember, I'm just adding one column to the first row. So first row has three columns or four columns. From the second row, we have three columns, only three columns. Let me just save this and show you how it executes. Now, if you see what happened, the complete information got jumbled up. This roll number over 101, 102, and 103 should have been under roll number. The name should have been under names. And marks, the 78, 52, and all should have been under marks. But since what happens is the first row contains there's four columns. Second row contains only three. So this 101 is starting from the first column itself, getting the display of first column itself. But what I want is to shift, not shift, this should be moved to the side, and information, that column, should span three rows. The information column should span three rows. So what I will do is I will use over here nth and I'll use row span span equal to, let me say, 3. Actually, we will look at it, what happens when you are using 3. Let me save this. Let me refresh this. So we used column span 3, it worked fine. When we are using row span 3, it is only spanning the first row, that is the header, second row as 101 ABC and so and so, third row as 102 AAA and so and so. But it should also span the last row also. So here, columns we only had 3, so we made it as column span 3. But rows we have header row, then the next one is 101, 102, and 103. So here what we will use is we will use row span as 4. Let us execute this. Now you can find that you have the result in the perfect order. So you can use column span as well as you can use row span. Column span spans number of columns, and row span spans number of rows. So this is how we can use row span and column span for tables. Now, the last thing in tables tag is the I told you. Just let me remove this row span part. I told you about the advantage of using head th tag instead of making the content as bold. That is one advantage is that we don't unnecessarily use b tags, bold tags directly. Th tag we can use so that it works fine. Then the other advantage I told you that it will be useful in printing. When we have large number of rows, the header, if we use ts tag with some other tags, then when it is printed on every page, we will have uh, the header printed. Though it doesn't make sense, or we don't see the difference when we have when we use this. What do you say? When we use this, when we view it on the screen, we don't find any difference. But there is a significant. I mean, when we print it, only then we will be able to find the that headers will be printed. So the last thing what we will see is some of the additional tags for formatting. Now everything remains same. Table tag remains same. TR tag remains same. TH tag remains same. TD tag remains same. Now, what are the additional tags is this whole row is a header row. So what we will do is we have a tag known as TH. No, sorry, T head. So we will, and over here, I'll just open T head as a tag. And this tag, I'll close it after completing the header row. I'll close it over here. So I'll just make this as inner tags. So these are inner tags and T head. It's the header row is within T head. And then we can call this as body. That is the rest of the rows. That is only this is header we are saying. This is only the header we are saying. And the rest of the things is body. So we will have this entire thing in T body. This is for table body. This is table body. T body. Now this body, okay, so I'll just make it as inner tags. All this T body. And after that, I'll close T body after completing the body. Slash T body. So all these things becomes a part of T body. We have T head here, T header within T head, and rest of the rows in T body. A complete T body. There is another thing known as T foot, like a footer. So suppose I want the header itself, the header row head itself as the footer. I want this whole row over here display at the bottom. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this entire thing. Entire thing I'll copy it. And after T body, I'll paste it after T body. After T body, I'm pasting it. So again, instead of T head, I'll use T foot. T foot. And again, let us have this TR tags, same tags. And let me just save this. Let us execute this. You can find there is the footer over here. Now, this is not because we are using T foot. If I remove T foot, even then it gets displayed because we have a row. Since we are using TR, even if I don't have T foot, it gets displayed. If I just refresh this, it's getting displayed. So the last row which is getting displayed is not because T4, that is because TR. But we will have this TR and within T4, within T4. So we will have this within T4. Now, obviously, we have seen this execution. I mean, we have seen this output, not execution, sorry, output. Now, if you see the output, it doesn't matter. It doesn't look. There's no difference whether we used T foot or T body or T head. There is no difference. So remember that these T head, T foot, and T head, T body, and T foot, these tags are only beneficial when we have long tables and the header information has to be repeated on each table, on each page of the table, as well as the footer information has to be repeated. Then we need to, then this tags will be helpful only in terms of printing. In terms of viewing on a web page or a web browser, these tags are just for additional formatting. It will not change the view or look of your table. So this is how, this is what was all about the table tag. Now, the tables, as I said at the beginning of the class, that these tables are not used nowadays. Actually, what used to happen was, if you look, just let us go to one website. Let's say, Google dot, what is it? Google.com. Let's say Google.com. No, this is not, doesn't have anything. Let's say MJ College, MJ's College .ac.in. Okay, let us go to this mjcollege.ac.in. Now, if you see the structure of this homepage, now we cannot just have simple tags to create the structure, this homepage. We need to make use of tables. So the website's earlier days used to create it. The whole site itself was created in terms of tables, where you can find that this the blue, the complete black border around our website, is a table. Then this was all the header. I mean, on top menu you can find all the pop-ups coming up. This is considered as one row with several columns for each each text content. Then this would be the logo, and this part would be another row where logo is in one column, and in another column we have search, and then this would be another row with all these texts as part of columns, and then this whole content again would be divided into tables. And the website used to have nested tables, actually, table inside a table inside a table. So this is how websites, tables were very useful in earlier days in creating website and trying to structure the website in a proper, to have a proper look and feel. So tables were very important then. But as the internet became accessible on various devices, for example, you can access it on mobile phone, you can access it on your what do you call, tablet or iPads, and so and so. Even in laptops, if you consider, obviously laptop itself is a PC there, but even in laptops, if you consider, what happens is there is the dimension of how you view a web page, or the dimensions on which your browser works are different. For example, if I'm using a PC, if you're using a PC or a desktop computer, you may have a 21-inch monitor or a 19-inch monitor. Then same thing, you consider your laptop, you may have only the screen is little smaller. It's a 14-inch, but even that doesn't make a difference. But when you are on an iPad and when you are on a cell phone, what happens? What happens is that on a cell phone, the screen is very small compared to what you have on what you use on a laptop or a desktop. So the entire web page, uh, if you're looking at this web page, college web page, what is happening? You have 1, 2, home, about, courses, academics. These are how many? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 menu items are there. Table. If table has a 12 columns, and that table, the same site, that table is viewed on a browser, it will look different and when it is viewed on a mobile phone, on an iPad. Why? Size of the screen is small. This table with 12 columns will fit in a browser, on a PC or on a laptop. But the size will not fit. It just becomes like this. I'm just reducing the size of the web page. Reducing the size of the web page. You can find that the size, this is the size. Assume that this is the size of your mobile. All of the 12 are not visible at all. And sometimes when you use tables, actually this is not in tables in div tag, but if you use tables, what happens is the columns will come to the next row to adjust itself, or the text will come to will get like a word wrap and come in the next row, and it will be in a very crooked fashion, since tables adjust themselves according to the height, and adjusting themselves and depends upon the text. So when we are having text which cannot fit, or 12 columns are there over here which cannot fit in this small size, so table will try to align itself, and then the entire structure will be in very crooked fashion. So there is new thing you might have heard about, not new, actually it's there from since a long time, but it's a hyped term. You might have heard about responsive websites. So many times you might have heard about this. Responsive websites, responsive. Responsive is nothing but you create only one web page, and that web page should adapt itself to various sizes of the browser. For example, it should adapt itself to a full screen of a PC. The same web page should adapt itself to the screen of a mobile device, or it should adapt itself to a screen of of your iPad or any tablet. So that is what is responsive. And using tables, since tables has as fixed, we can only assign width as in terms of pixels, that will be a fixed size, or in terms of percentage. But table columns will not float around the web page. If you resize the web page, table might not align itself. So instead of tables, now there is a tag which is known as div tag. Div. So people are not using table tags. Instead of table tags, they are using div tags to develop websites. Div stands for division. Division. So like your table divides the whole web page into rows and columns, the same way even division divides. Division tag will divide the whole web page into different sections, different sections. So about this division tag, there is another tag also called as span tag, and that tag also We will cover these two things in term. I mean, when we look at the CSS, that is HTML with CSS. So this was all about the basics of HTML and the table tag. And any questions so far? Because I'm not going to start this div or the span, I mean CSS part in this section, because even this takes this is a completely different topic itself. So this takes time. So that is why I think I'll stop at this stage because we have completed tables. And in the later section, I mean class, we will move on to the other topic of this. I mean, first we will look at how to create forms. That is one of the major and the important part. And then we will cover HTML and the CSS part, where we will look at div tag and the other tags which we can use with CSS. So I mean, some 15 minutes left in this class. We had a 2 hours class today. So any questions so far? Any questions? Oh, sorry. Anyway, the object tag. Am I? I think yeah, I'm audible. I think so. Yeah, on the next screen, I'm able to. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. What object tag is actually the web browsers will not be able to handle every entity. For example, text is there. Web browser knows what text is. Then uh, images. Web browser knows what images are. Web browser knows what video files are, as well as web browser knows what PDFs are. But web browsers doesn't know. I mean, even PDFs, some of the web browsers doesn't recognize. So what happens is we can use the object tag to embed something uh, which we can exclusively say that the web browser, I mean, we can tell web browser to use such and such tag and use the object tag and use such and such library to open that type or that part of the content. So the details, I mean, later when we have some time, not today, I mean, in the semester when we have some time, just remind me again. I'll practically demonstrate how this object tag works. So, any other question? If there are no more questions, then can we end this class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are no more questions, let us end this class. Hope you all have entered your notes for reference. No? Yeah, sure. I'll just I'll just do it. I'll do it. Don't worry. I'll do it. So can we end this class?
Yes, sir.
So let us close for today. May I request everyone to just log off or leave the meeting? Because if I disable you or if I remove you from the meeting, uh, you may not be able to join back. So that is why please try to remove yourself. What attendance? Which attendance are you talking about? Today's attendance. Do I take attendance in other classes? Have I taken attendance in other classes? Don't worry about attendance, Mr. So and so, roll number 78. Don't worry about attendance. You have typed in your roll number. There's no problem. It's not a physical class that I call up each name and you people try to answer yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Okay, so don't worry. You have typed in, or at least you have even if you have asked some question, I'll get to know. Or even if you have typed some thing in the chat, I'll come to know that this person is present. So that is how. Please don't worry about the attendance. Okay. So any other thing? Mr. Asif Sheikh has also gone. Now who else is left? Abdul Malik has also. Okay. Is this fine, Mr. Okay. Sure. Oh, okay.